So let's just break it down to its utmost. I got this noise in the back, this AC running in the background. Let's see if you can hear me. Let's break it down to the utmost. Adam and Eve dropped us down into sin, right? So the first Adam brought death. The second Adam brings life. So you're dead in trespasses and sins till you get born again. So think about it. The decay is real. D-E-C-A-Y, decay. D-E means off. Just like when you do a derivative, it's off river in mathematics. The word descend, D-E, send, to go down. The devil's D-E, down. And notice the letter V and then I-L. I-L is going down because it's ill. I-L is I-L-L, ill, devil. Devil is ill. Evil. Eve fell into the spell of the devil. That's why it's evil. And that's why it's devil. And so Jesus split space-time and came down here, down, D-E, into this ridiculous place that we're in, to rescue mankind. The only way it could be Adam's fault, if Eve was the one to go in deception, into ignorance, the only way it could be Adam's fault is they're one. Eve is the side of Adam, the flesh side of Adam. That's why she worries about how her hair looks and her clothes, and she wants to please the man in her appearance, right? Because it's built into her. It's just the way it is. And so Adam and Eve dropped us all down. We would have made the same choices. That's why God prepared it before the foundation of the world, the lamb slain before the foundation of the world. He already knew mankind would fall. You could look at, he could see every man from Genesis to Revelation. No man would be able to stand firm, you know. The devil's a deceiver, but we deceive. Worse than that, we deceive ourselves, you know. It's a rough road down here. It's a rough road. Humankind is actually born in weakness. Think about it. When you get your new body, when you see Jesus, you'll be like him. You won't have any weakness. You'll be strong completely. There's not going to be an Achilles heel. The only Achilles heel at any time in all creation would be to think that you could do it without God. That's the only Achilles heel in all of creation, whether it's the angels, whether it's the glorified saints, thinking you can do it without God, you know. One of the reasons he lets you go through this process is because when you think you can do it without God, that's when the bottom drops out, right? It's kind of like a program. As soon as you think I can do it without God, everything falls apart. For real. Seriously. can do it without God, and everything just completely falls apart. And you're like, what just happened? It was part of the program. Because you can't live without God. In Him we live and breathe and have our being. So He holds it all together. He holds it all together by the word of His power. So if you read Colossians chapter 1 and 2, which I don't know why preachers don't preach on it, by Him all things consist. And the word consist means together, stand. S-I-S-T is stand. By Jesus, all things together stand, consist. This is why the etymology is so important. The Greek is fine, but the etymology is even better, because etymology goes back to its source, river, derivative. The etymology shows you the derivative from source. Jesus is source. So everything, even the etymology, the Bible, the etymology, the saints, the rivers, the sky, everything in front of you has a deep spiritual truth that derives from Jesus and who Jesus is and what He has done and what He's doing and what's already been. And really, when you do enough thought experiments, you'll realize that everything is finished before the foundation world, and everything that you're dealing with right now has already been. And it's happening now. Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner is happening right now. It's happening right now. Either in your mind, or somebody's persecuting you, or something you're dealing with, something's chasing you, that debt, that bill's chasing you, something's always chasing you. But when you rest in Jesus, you overcome. There's always something chasing you. It might be a health issue, it might be a water bill. Something's following you all the time. Just like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. It's happening all the time. And so, if you think about it, there's always something following you and chasing you, okay? And what's it trying to do? It's trying to eat you. It follows. It's trying to vampire off of you. Wile E. Coyote was chasing Roadrunner to eat Roadrunner, to vampire. And notice he always used those Acme tools. A-C-M-E. Me, 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 me. 1333. Me, me, me. It's all about me. The Me Too movement. The Me movement. And Taylor Swift, I think that's her name, she wrote a song. It says, I'm the problem, it's me. And that became a top #1 song. It didn't last for long, but it was top song. How's that even possible? How could Taylor Swift get people to sing that song, I'm the problem is me, when no preacher could do it? How'd she do that? You go into the church for 20 years, and you go in there and you say, pray for this person that's getting on my nerves. Pray for this person. Yeah, they might be the problem, but the problem is you. You're the problem. It's you, most likely. Because if you learn how to respond and set up the boundaries, they won't even be a problem anymore. Creating boundaries is the secret. Depending on God. Because He tells you to come out from among them and be ye separate. If you just believe the word and do it, not go by your own understanding or by somebody else's will, because they have their own will and their own agenda, you know. You have to do God's will, and that's what makes them mad, that you do God's will. You're not perfect, nobody's perfect, but you do God's will and not their will, and it upsets them. It makes them mad. Anyway, if you can get to the point, whether you're in church, whether you're not in church, whether you're newly saved, or you've been saved 30 years, whatever, if you can get to the point that you can say, it's me, oh Lord, standing in need of prayer. Not my brother, not my sister, it's me. If you can get to that point, and mean it, not just say it, like just sing it. If you can just really mean it. That's the problem with a lot of these hymns. They sound good, but do you really listen to the words of what they're trying to say, you know. The legalist will say, you can only use the Bible to learn. Well, what about the hymns? Yeah, a lot of hymns have Bible verses, but a lot of them are they're saying deep spiritual truth. They're like gurus. A lot of these hymnals are like a guru speaking. But you just sing it thinking it's just a song, but it's more than a song. It's a guru truth from a saint who's had some experience, you know, and they wrote down on paper their experience in life and put it into a song, hoping that it would wake you up, that it becomes a part of you. And this is what I'm talking about. So it has to become a part of you. When you eat something, it becomes a part of you, right? The nutrients. And so if you eat and drink of the natural, it becomes a part of you. The nutrients are broken down into pieces and become a part of you. If you eat and drink of the spiritual, it needs to become a part of you. And if you got your affections in two different places, how is it going to be a part of you? If your only affections are down in the natural, how can the spiritual become your true identity? If you're still getting your identity and you're eating and drinking of the natural only, and that's your sustenance, instead of the spiritual being your, sustenance. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. But it's everywhere in front of you. Everything is a word, because Jesus is the word. My point is, when we look at Adam and Eve and look at ourselves and look at a cat or a dog or a beast, the cat and the dog and the beast, they eat food and they go to the bathroom, number one, number two, just like you do. So your body's like a beast creature. And that's why the Bible talks about brute. They're nothing but brute beasts. They have no spiritual life. They have no truth. They're just brute beasts, you know. And if all you like to hang out with is a brute beast, it's probably because you're probably a brute beast, you know. You have no spiritual inkling. You have no spiritual unction or inkling, because you're just a brute beast. And if you're just a brute beast, you're easy to figure out. Because all you want to do is eat, drink, sleep, make babies, make a bunch of money, eat, sleep, make babies, go to work, make a bunch of money, eat, sleep, go party on Friday night, Saturday, get drunk. We already know what you're going to do before you do it. You can't fool us, because you're just a brute beast. That's all you think about. You don't think of thoughts above, you only think of thoughts below. And so you're easy to figure out. A brute beast lives in pride. Your pride is ridiculous. We can see through you a mile away. We already know what motivates you. Greed, lust, anger, fighting, bitterness, unforgiveness, manipulation, witchcraft, sorcery, con artist. You're a brute beast. You're a hell-bound sinner going to hell. But everybody's been there. But some people wanted to escape. And some people looked for God and sought God and found God. But everybody who's rejecting Jesus is a brute beast. I don't care how religious they are. They're just a brute beast. Just like that dog across the street. You watch it. It eats. It goes outside. It barks at the neighbors. It chases the cat. It eats some food. It goes around behind that AC unit and uses the bathroom. It goes right back to barking and eating and chasing the cat. And it goes and it eats and it lays down and sleeps. And then it goes back to behind the AC unit and uses the bathroom. Then it goes back around and eats some more food and chases the cat and barks at the neighbors, and it just keeps doing the same program over and over. So if you're a brute beast, you're not in control. You're out of control. You're going to be a criminal. If you're a brute beast, you're headed to jail, really. you're headed to a mind of criminality. You're actually headed to being a psychopath. If you're religious but lost, you're not saved, born again, you're actually on the spiral down, DE, to a psychopath. For real. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your family. I don't care if it's your kids, your parents, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your aunts, your uncle. If they reject Jesus, they are brute beasts, and they're headed spiraling down, and they hate you, and they love themselves, and they want to vampire off of you. That's true narcissism, and that's true codependency and all that stuff. See, the psychologists ain't going to tell you that. That the brute beast, a person who's not born again, they are the narcissist. They are the psychopath. They are the sociopath. You can call them a good person or not. There's none good, no, not one. Let God be true and every man a liar. If they're a liar, they're a murderer in their heart, because the devil's a liar and a murderer from the beginning. And so if you say, oh, they're a good person, apart from Jesus, that's impossible. That's why if you marry one of these religious but lost, she puts on a show like she's, and if it's a woman, you marry, some say women marry a religious man. But she puts on a show like she's Saint Mary. But Saint Mary would tell you that Saint Mary is going to bow to, already is, I'm sure. The glorified saints bow and cast their crowns down the foot of Jesus, because Jesus holds it all together. The only one holy and separate and undefiled is Jesus. So every human being is born into this brute beast system, and the only way you're going to escape it is by the grace of God, faith alone and Jesus alone, and get out of this place eventually through the rapture or death, you know. But eventually, you can get out of this place now spiritually by being seated in the heavenlies by faith. It's a spiritual transformation. It's a spiritual teleportation. Do you see, you still walk down here and look out in front of you, see the dirt and the sky and the trees and all that. You're still here, but you're seated in the heavenly. So you've been translated. It's just a matter of, after enough cycles, you pretty much see through this game down here. It's all a game. All the news, all the media, it's all a show, it's all theater. All the nations are working together. They can act like they're enemies. They're all working together. Ukraine and Russia don't care about killing the young. They're just getting rich off of the war. Eventually they say, we're going to be friends. They're going to come to an agreement, and all those people who died for what? Worthless. Why didn't they just play a chess match or a virtual video game instead of going using missiles and stuff, killing people? Because it's the brute beast mindset, and it's to put you in fear. It's all lies, people. It's such a big matrix, a man-made system. You might say, well, it's because we have these big nations. Well, even the tribes had the shamans and the medicine men and all that. And you really think they were telling people the truth? No. They were living off of the ignorance of the people, and people worship the shaman and worship the gurus and put them high on a totem pole, you know. There's nothing new. So just like your priest and your magician priest class, they're doing the same thing now. Behind the scenes, they're telling the king. See, the king don't know how to rule the people. So what does the king need? He needs the magician priest class to help him out, you know. So obvious, not even funny.